Welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. We're broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. We're so glad that you joined us on the inaugural edition of Frankly Speaking. And I've got to say, it feels very good to say welcome to Frankly Speaking. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about the program. You've probably seen the commercials. I will say there's other places you could go this morning, I'm sure, to watch wall-to-wall coverage of the Oscars. But in my opinion, when I fill up my gas tank or buy groceries, there's bigger issues that we're going to be dealing with. So we're going to talk about all those throughout the many broadcasts here on Frankly Speaking on WYDC TV Big Fox. So again, I'll be talking about the show in just a minute, and we'll be talking about myself so I can prove my bona fides. But a few things first to highlight. On the program this morning, we're going to be talking to Corning Mayor Bill Bolan. We look forward to speaking with him a little bit later on. Tomorrow on the program, we'll have Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard. On Wednesday, former Congressman and Steuben County GOP Chairman Joe Sempolinski. And on Thursday, Chemung County Sheriff Bill Schramm. And finally, wrapping up the week on Friday, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. So you have an idea of what we'll be dealing with here on Frankly Speaking, and that is talking to the people that affect your life, that affect all of our day-to-day lives. And we're going to find out what it means in Albany, in Washington, locally. So if you have any questions, you'll see on the bottom of the screen a text message. You can text us there with questions for our guests. You can text me in general. Maybe at the end of the program, if there's a few texts, we'll read them and see what you had to say, either about the show, hopefully not about the show, unless it's good, or we'll hear from you about maybe potential interviews. Just let me know what you think. You can also contact me. There's the phone number again. I have my email, frank@wydctv.com. That's frank@wydctv.com. So I think you'll really enjoy the show. We've got a lot to offer on the program today. We're going to highlight a couple local issues. As I said, we're going to talk to the mayor. That's a little bit later on. Then we're going to talk to Josh Felderberg. He's our newsman here, him and Maggie on Big Fox. You can watch their news at 10 p.m. Every weekday. We're going to talk to him because we want him to be, and Maggie, to be a very important part of this program to highlight some of the news of the day. So we're going to see what his idea for the show is. That's coming up a little bit later on. So like I said, we're just hitting the ground running. Really excited. Glad that you joined us. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or criticisms, please text me. One other thing, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on. We have to take a break here. We're coming up on a break in just a second. But you'll see on the bottom of the screen, right below weather, you'll see a little wave. It looks like a little hand. If you are on Market Street, you're going on into work, or maybe you're just out for a nice morning walk. If you wave, we'll add it to the wave list. It's just another way for this to be interactive. Because really, at the end of the day, this show is about you. It's about the community. It's finding out what's important to all of us, and that is making this a better community. So, with that being said, we do have to take a short break. Then we'll be back. But as always, text me at that number, 607-358-3131. And again, I thank you for being a part of the inaugural show. This is history-making here on television with Frankly Speaking and WYDC TV Big Fox. We'll be back from the Hesselson studio in just a moment. Again, broadcasting on beautiful Market Street in Corning, New York. So please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. Again, thank you so much for joining us on our inaugural edition of the program right here on WYDC TV Big Fox and broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. So I thought you've seen the commercials and you might have said, who is this person? What is Frankly Speaking? So I thought we'd start there, and just quickly I'll tell you a little bit about myself to lay down my bona fides. Then we'll get into it. This is just the first show, so I thought it was important to go through some of these things for those of you who don't know me. Before this, I was on talk radio for 14 years, almost 15 years. Interviewed everybody from actors, athletes, musicians, politicians, politicians and candidates from nearly every elected office, even including a future president, President Trump, then running for the primary and running for president in the primary, and it was in New York. Him and Ted Cruz were facing each other, and he called the program many years ago. So again, I think it proves a little bit of what I'm saying is that this is about the community. He called in to speak out to our area, Elmira, Corning, and much farther, the southern tier. That's what we're trying to accomplish here So think of it as radio on TV. So politicians, actors, actresses, things like that, they can call in and be a part of the program. And what's amazing about television, and since the age of COVID, we'll have Zoom interviews from far and wide. So, but back to me. After the show's run, when a format change happened and no longer wanting talk radio, I think we did, and I think many of you did, but that decision was out of my hands, and I had an amazing opportunity, really a honor of a lifetime, to work for the United States House of Representatives, which seems like kind of a big jump from talk radio, but it was an amazing experience. I was communications director for two congressmen, now former Congressman Tom Reed, and after that, former Congressman, Joe Sempolinski. So in full disclosure, we're going to be talking to Joe on Wednesday, but it's important that you know that he was my boss at one time, but I told him already, the questions aren't going to be softball. They're going to be cutting. So he's fully aware, and that's on Wednesday, right around 7:20. So tune in for that. Again, and today, Bill Bolan, the mayor of Corning, right around at the same time, 7:20. So I think having worked in Washington gave me a unique perspective. Of course, doing talk radio, I talked about politics a lot, and I think we all think we know about Washington. I had the opportunity to work in that side of things. Now, I was based in Corning, but working for Washington for the U.S. House of Representatives. So I think I get to see both sides of it, and I think that will offer a unique perspective to this program. And I will be adding that in throughout our conversations. So now we're back on a talk radio type format, but on television, and it's right here on WYDC TV Big Fox. So again, this is something you're not going to get anywhere else, and I think you'll be glad that you tuned in, especially on this first show, and in the future. I hope that you continue to stay with us. Now, I do have to take a break in just a moment, so when we come back, I will tell you just a little bit. Let me check. Yeah, this is all new, folks. New buttons and everything. So I just want to check and make sure I'm doing good on time. I am doing good on time. We'll tell you a little bit about the show coming up after this quick commercial break. So if you will stay with us, again, you are tuning into the brand new, all new, Frankly Speaking. I am the host. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio on Market Street. Please stop by, wave in the window if you don't mind, so we can add to that. It's kind of early, I know, and especially with the time change, but then we can add to that little wave counter at the bottom. And please text and please email. Again, it's simple. As I said, there's our contact information right there. So we'll be right back after this short break. So please, stay with us. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. I sometimes forget I'm on camera if I'm looking through all my notes here. So I told you that we're broadcasting live from the Hesselson studios right here on Big Fox. Just to tell you a little bit about what you can expect from the show in the future. So this first one, of course, is kind of getting to know each other, who I am, what we plan on with the program. But in the future, there'll be a lot of news, local, regional, national, really the things that affect you. As I said, if you want to go somewhere and watch wall-to-wall Oscar coverage, that's your prerogative. For me, there's a lot of bigger issues I think that we're all facing as a society. And those are the things that we're going to be focused on. And that's why I think it's so important with this program to talk with people like the Corning's mayor, Bill Bolan, who we'll have on a little bit later on. We're going to have the congressman on eventually here. We're working on that on his schedule. We're going to be talking with so many guests from around the region. And that's another opportunity for me to highlight, if you don't mind, my contact information. If you have suggestions, one of the things that I think this program offers, which you'll enjoy, is, let's say, hypothetically, you're having issues with infrastructure. You have a lot of potholes in your neighborhood, or maybe you're having some trouble with problems with a graffiti, something like that. Contact me. I can't guarantee I'll always get the interview, but I'll try my hardest to maybe reach out to your town supervisor, or reach out to your mayor, or reach out to your legislature. And we'll have many members of the legislature. And as we get closer to election, we want to have the candidates on too. So if you have taken that step, which is very important if we want to make changes. If you're taking that step to run for local office, I would highlight again my contact information so you can reach out to me and we can get an interview scheduled. Now, it's tough, and I want to preface this, but I know it's a ways away before election. But I want to preface the fact that if you are running, please contact me. If I haven't contacted you, do not take it as an insult. It's just so many people running for so many offices that it's difficult. So I've kind of put the onus on the candidate, because that's the only way to really make it fair. I don't want it to look as if I reach out to one party and not the other. So please, there again is my contact. And I know it's petition time, which is unbelievable. The weather, going out knocking door to door to get those signatures. But if you're doing that, number one, good for you. Whether you're the candidate or you're doing it for a candidate, congratulations, because that's a very important part of the process. So kudos to you. But if you are running, again, I don't mean to keep rambling on about this, but I do love having candidates on the program. So please reach out to me at any time, and we'll start talking about your campaign. And we've already had a couple people do that just from the promo, knowing my past show. So I highlight a little bit about myself, a little bit about when I was on radio. Let's talk about what we expect from this program. As I said, it's radio on television, but also I'd like to think of it as a town hall of the airwaves. If you've ever been to a town hall, you know, you go and you speak to your elected representative, whatever level that may be, and you have the conversation. Well, that's what this is about. It's about having the conversation, and it's about community. I mentioned the wave counter at the bottom. I mentioned the phone number, but that's to make it more interactive. That's to make it about you and me. I don't consider myself, I consider this your program. I'm just hosting it and trying to keep it in check, trying to keep it on the time frame that we need to be on. So please, be a part of the program. Never feel weird about asking a question. Again, I can't get to all of them at the end of the program, but we're going to highlight some of the texts. And if you're not a texting person, I understand that. You can call and leave a voicemail. I can read what you said on the voicemail and put it up on screen, or if we run a little bit late at the end of the program, maybe we can play the audio on the next program. So again, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. But we are going to focus on hopefully mostly local, but sometimes there's going to be some national, definitely some regional news topics of the day that I think affect our day-to-day lives. And it's not going to be necessarily what you get everywhere else. You know, a lot of times when you flip through the channels, you see many of the same stories. Sometimes that's going to be necessary. Other times it's going to be, why are we still talking about this? Or why is that the big issue when seems like we've got this over here that they don't want us to necessarily know. And when I say they, maybe it's the media, maybe it's the politicians. So we're going to try to bring you the issues that affect you. And I do think this is unlike, I don't want to keep belaboring this point, but I think this is unlike anything you can get anywhere else. So it is, again, all about you. And I want to highlight that it is about community, because we all love the Southern Tier. We want to see it even better. I don't want to say, even better. I like the way that's worded. So that's why we have on people like Corning Mayor Bill Bolan coming up in just a little bit. That's why we're going to have our brand new Congressman Nick Langworthy on here in just a little bit, probably a week or two. We'll see. Everybody's reached out, and I will say we've hit the ground running. I just mentioned at the beginning of the program who we'll have on this week, but we're pretty much booked up through mid-April. So that's only going to continue to grow as word spreads. So please do not hesitate to contact me, and I'd love to have you be a part of the program. You'll see later on when we talk to the mayor and when we talk to our newsman, Josh Felderberg, you'll see the quality of product that we have here. And towards the end of the program, I'll thank all of those who made this all possible. So we're going to talk about some of the issues of the day. That's coming up in a little bit. We do have the mayor coming on. Let me check my break here. We have the mayor coming on in just a few moments. I mean, this time's going quickly on the program already. Oh, here's the mayor right now, and we're going to let him in live on the air. Come on in, Mayor. Come on in. We're live on the air. I just want to warn you. You can come sit down. We're going to be on. I got to take a break in just a moment, but the mayor's going to join us in a minute. Obviously, I'm talking to him here on the side. So let's take a short commercial break. But again, I'm going to put that contact information on. If you have any questions for the mayor, please reach out. There's the text. You can text that at any time, or you can email me, and then we'll get the questions right to the mayor. Thank you for joining us, by the way. We'll be on in just a second. So let me take a short break, and then we'll be back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox, broadcasting live from Corning Market Street from the Hesselson studio. Stay with us. All right, we're back with Frankly Speaking, live on the air. Let me get rid of that little box on the... Hey, we're just learning on the fly here. So we're going to get rid of that. And we're being joined this morning by Corning Mayor Bill Bolan. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Frank.
I wanted to have you on the program right away because we're live on Market Street from the Hesselson studio.
Absolutely. And to start with, Frank, I want to say welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
It reminds me of the great Larry King making the transition from radio to TV. And on behalf of the city, you're an icon.
Wow.
And I just wish you all the luck in making that transition.
Is that a hint? I have to start wearing suspenders? Like that?
Exactly. And smoking a lot of cigarettes, as I remember.
And he always have his arms crossed and very, what do we got there? Oh, a little bit. Thank you. See this? My producer. Important. I have a producer.
Excellent.
Things have changed.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. We'll get right to it. By the way, if you're just joining us, you see on the bottom of the screen, Corning Mayor Bill Bolan is here with us. So how are things in the city?
I think we're going good. This is a little jewel of a city.
Yeah, it really is.
We have tremendous advantages as a small city, professional city government, commerce, Market Street, tourism, a lot of things going right for us.
You really do. And I know everything, I mentioned people can text and all that. There's always concerns, right? You're the mayor. So you walk down Market Street, which, by the way, lately has been busy. There's events almost every weekend. It's great. But I'm sure people come up with with concerns for you. What would those be?
I think one of the current ones is the revaluation of our properties. I think that has, justifiably a lot of people concerned. I know my own property was increased in valuation by about $50,000, which means in the bottom line at the end of the day when I have to pay my taxes, it's about $1,000 more. So, but that is a naturally occurring thing. I think one of the things that is a misconception is that the city uses this as a way to raise more money. Sure. That's just not true. There isn't a dollar more in taxes that we're raising. We are distributing the burden, the fair share to everyone. And admittedly, we haven't done that in about 8 years. So there's some sticker shock, and I completely understand that.
And do you think that's almost a PR type thing where people did not expect to see it? Is that maybe one of the reasons why they're so concerned, or it's just bottom line the dollars at the end?
I think we can explain all we want to, but in the final analysis, I come down to that. When you're asked to pay additional taxes, that's concerning for a lot of people,
especially at this time, right? A lot of people are struggling.
Absolutely, there's no question about it.
So is there anything that people can do, or what would you recommend to people that are concerned about this?
Well, we elaborated a very clear process where people have the opportunity to challenge their assessment.
Okay.
It's a 3-step process, so you really get 3 bites at the apple to make your case that my standard is if you don't think you can sell your property for what it's assessed at, then you should engage in that process of challenging it.
Well, great. In old radio fashion, I was just about to read your name again, but everybody knows it can see it on the bottom of the screen.
So and hopefully they can see my face.
They can. Everything's great. They move the camera. Everything's wonderful. So one of the things I know we talked about in the past and something I think is worth mentioning is a comprehensive plan. Do you have an update on that? That's been a major initiative of yours. I mean, something that you find very important.
Absolutely. We have an opportunity. We haven't done for 20 years an update to our comprehensive plan. And that's a long time.
A lot has changed in 20 years.
A lot has changed. There's certain things that are still relevant, but there's a whole bunch of things that are not. So we have an opportunity that we're going to take starting in April to completely revision what our city will look like over the next 5, 10, or 15 years. An extraordinary opportunity to take a vision and take a new look and engage all those stakeholders, all those interests, and get input from everyone to map out a plan for the new Corning as we move into the future.
Now, how long of a process is that?
Last time it took 2 years. Now, this is an update, but I suspect that a year and a half or 2 years, we'll be engaging a consultant to help us along the way and guide us through that. But, I just would like to say my commitment that everyone who has a stake in the future of the city of Corning will have a voice in the city of Corning. So we anticipate extensive outreach to folks as we move down the line, so that we're hearing everybody's vision of what Corning should be and will be.
So town halls and things like that, and you'll keep us updated on that.
Absolutely will. Yep, absolutely will.
Because that's a unique opportunity where people can talk to you and talk to the people putting this plan together overall and say, I like this, I don't like this. I mean, you'll get earfuls, but you'll get some great ideas too.
No question about it. We're really looking forward to that.
Oh, that's great. And another major issue in the news, not so much lately, but the North Side and some of the things going on over there. I was hoping that you could tell us a little bit about what is going on, whether it's Northside Place or Parish Heights. What is happening on the North Side?
Well, I think we have extraordinary activity going on there, which is great to see. A real revitalization of the North Side. Mm-hmm. Two projects you mentioned is Northside Place, which is a Reedman Company project. Understandably taken a lot longer than any of us thought, but COVID intervened in that and all those things associated with that. But now the Reedman Company's come in with a brand new concept of single-family rental homes, and they're building now. So that's a great thing to see. And when they're done, that'll be a wonderful addition to that venerable neighborhood. In addition to that, we have Parish Heights, which was a long process that was difficult, to say the least. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a lot of different opinions about that from the neighbor, the developer, the city, and we worked through it. And I think what we've got now is we've got a really exciting project that serves primarily our seniors and some workforce housing, and in addition to that, some daycare. But one thing I like about that project in particular, Frank, is that in addition to the senior housing, there's a component of it that provides helpful living services to those seniors to make it easier for them to stay in their home for as long as they can.
That's wonderful. Now, what's the time frame on that project?
About a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
They're still getting their approval from our planning commission, but I think that's kind of a fait accompli.
One thing I wanted to mention, because I know this has been important to you, but I'm not overly familiar with it. Tell us about the public art strategy.
Well, that is something that's kind of near and dear to my heart.
Right.
I was a chairman of the Public Arts Committee for many years. It's a soup to nuts strategy. We're right midway involved with the consultant. We expect them to come back here in the next couple weeks and give us their initial findings. But it really is about enhancing, from a public standpoint, Corning known as a city of arts, and to continue to develop that as something not only for our citizens to enjoy, but as a component of drawing people to Corning as visitors.
Well, it seems like we already have at least the beginning of that reputation.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. We have a robust
our community, really.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And when the consultant came in, I think they come in not knowing what to expect, but this particular consultant, it was clear from his visits to our city that he gets that the art scene in Corning is extraordinary for a city our size.
Summer's nearly here. I say that as the snow falls.
Yeah.
But when we think of the summer, we do think about visiting the parks. And Corning has really amazing parks that some people may not even be aware of. Could you tell us what you and the council are doing to maybe better those parks, if you will?
Absolutely. I think one of the things I'm excited about is that we just got a grant for wastewater management in our parks, a comprehensive study that we'll be doing. And one of the things we're pointing at is the pond in Denison Park, which I don't think many people know, but the fresh water that fed that pond for many, many years came out of the old hospital site.
Oh, is that right?
Right, the cooling water coming out. So that was the source of fresh water. When the old hospital site went away, there went the fresh water, and there went the deterioration of that pond. And going back in history, that's just a wonderful space.
It is.
I share with you, not too long ago, a group of kids came up in my office. They just invaded my office, and they were, and they had their chaperone with them, and they said, "Why can't we fish in the pond?
Yeah.
We want to fish in the pond." I said, "Well, we're working on it." And they said, "Well, when?"
When? Yeah. Who hasn't fished in that pond?
Exactly.
I mean, it's kind of what you, again, going back to what I was saying in the summer, you think about that pond. So that sounds like a lot going on in Denison specifically.
Yeah, and of course, about a year and a half ago, it was a combination effort by Corning Rotary, who had its 100th anniversary, Three Rivers Development Corporation, and the City of Corning got together and put a brand new cherry blossom trail in Denison Park. And I'm happy to report we didn't expect the blossoms to come last spring, but they did. Not great, but about 60% of the trees, all the trees made it, and about 60% bloomed. So we're expecting third, fourth week of April, we'll see a much greater result. And I invite everybody to go. It's the by the old Spencer's restaurant. You go right down there, Tioga Avenue Extension. And you'll see it right on the right-hand side. It says Corning Rotary Cherry Blossom Trail.
We're going to be like Washington, D.C. People are going to be coming here to get the pictures with
Absolutely. We can only hope.
Get your Instagram ready, because those are going to be some great photos.
Absolutely.
Also, there's Stewart. I know you have some stuff going at Stewart Park.
We do. As part of our comprehensive park strategy that we passed a couple years ago, we call for the development of a flight center there. It drives off our previous effort in the parks programming for launching model rockets. Kids just love it.
Oh, yeah.
But this is an expansion of that, and the development of the idea this area has a rich tradition in aviation. So we're talking about not only rockets, but drones and kites, and developing that programming.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. That's something new. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. That's, as I said, it drives from our park strategy. So we're very excited about it. I have this vision of drone races and things like that. It can be very cool.
You mentioned kites. We think about flying as kites, but now it's drones and rockets. Wow, things have changed.
Absolutely have.
Before we go to break, because there's two things I want to mention when we come back from break. But before that, one of the things that I know we were talking off the air, but tell us about street lights and why that is an important issue to you.
Well, for years and years, Frank, as long as I've been in public office, there's been continuous complaints about outages of street lamps, and not throwing our brothers from NYSEG under the bus, but we were constantly soliciting them to improve that service, and it was not good for many years. And just recently, we took advantage of a NYSEG program to completely re-illuminate this city. There are no street lights that are out, and I think it's made a huge difference.
Yeah. I mean, you don't realize how important they are until you don't have them.
Absolutely. And from a public safety standpoint, you just can't beat it.
100%. Well, can you stay with us? We got to take a short break?
Sure can.
Okay, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Please stay with us. All right. It looks like we are back, so we're going to go to the main interview screen. Speaking of interviews, I want to thank M.A. Neal Financial Services, who have brought us this interview, and they're going to be bringing us many more interviews in the future. So thank you to M.A. Neal Financial Services. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. This is the Hesselson Studio, and I'm being joined this morning by the Mayor of Corning, Bill Bolan. Thanks again for joining us, being on the inaugural show. This is TV history here.
Absolutely. I do want to thank you, Frank, for the opportunity to be here. It's an honor. As I mentioned, you're an icon in our community, and we just wish you all the best in your new adventure.
I think I just found my new commercial.
There you go.
Is that why you're going to be on the new commercial? One of my favorite topics, because back when I did the radio show, I used to love talking with the sister cities, San Giovanni, Varderno. Varderno. I can't. They always try to get me to do better with it, but I love talking to them. The kids used to come in and do an interview, and we talked to so many people help run that, Augie, and I don't know who's all there now. But we're going to have a visit soon from the sister cities. Is that right?
We are. Over Glassfest at the end of May, the mayor and a whole contingent of adults are coming. And then that'll be followed by a kids trip later on in the year. But we're very excited about it. We were supposed to travel to San Giovanni just before COVID. We were supposed to go in April, and April's really when it got hot over. As you remember, it was really hot in Italy at that time.
So what are you going to do with the mayor?
We're going to show them the town. We're really looking forward to it.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they always like to go to Niagara Falls, which we're taking them there. But one of the important things we're doing is we're going to be formally renewing our agreement between the cities. And I should also mention that we have two other sister cities arrangements that have been 30 years. One in Lviv, Ukraine.
I saw that during.
And Kakagawa in Japan. Wow. Absolutely. And we've experienced over many years travel between our two countries, and it's really an important relationship.
Well, and I remember seeing something in the news about how we were helping in Ukraine because we have that connection there.
Yeah, I'm a Rotarian, and our Rotary Club took a very early interest in gaining funds to relieve Ukraine. And just recently we had a holiday evening with Rotary event where we raised $9,000 for humanitarian relief in Ukraine.
That's great. Well, everybody that's helping out with that cause, and that's wonderful that we have a sister city relationship with them. And I'm glad to see the mayors coming over. Will there be, a lot of times when the kids come over anyway, there'll be fundraisers and things like that to help support this? Will there be some during this, or is this more of a diplomatic?
This is more of a diplomatic. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, but we're delighted. Mayor Valentina is extremely excited about coming, and we're we're going to roll out the red carpet for them.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm surprised to learn this. I can't believe it's come up already, but you are actually running for re-election. Does it seem like it's been 2 years?
I am, and that's an announcement here for the first time.
Oh, isn't
right?
I should have made that a bigger deal. I thought I heard whispers on the street. That's why I said
absolutely whispers for sure.
So this is a big breaking news right here on the program. First inaugural show, and you're saying right now you're running for re-election.
I am, and I really should clarify that. This will be my last term if I'm fortunate enough to be re-elected by the people of Corning. But it will have been 8 years as mayor, 2-year terms, and also 14 years total in public service in Corning. And I think that's enough. I think it's a time for fresh blood, new ideas, and I also have some bucket list items that I'd like to get to.
And we'll get to all those because I think a lot of times people set almost, if you will, a term limit. And I think that's wonderful because you see that you've done a lot, and I know there's more that you want to do in these next 2 years. I just found it so unbelievable that you've been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah,
I remember you coming to the radio station. It seems like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. It's just flown by, but it's been an extraordinary opportunity. We've done some really good things, park strategy, development of the arts, and improvements in our neighborhoods. Housing is a particular thing that I've emphasized over the years.
Sure.
Just been an extraordinary opportunity. I've been really privileged to do it.
And I want to talk a little bit about your proudest accomplishments and things like that, but I can't believe you see right now in petition process, and you must be a glutton for punishment to run even 2 more years.
Well, years back, Governor Cuomo aligned the primary process with the federal, which meant that we used to petition for signatures to get on the ballot in April.
You're right.
Now we do it in February. So glutton for punishment is probably the appropriate term.
I get my long johns out and go and hope someone please answer.
You know this, Frank. Yeah. You were elected up in the town.
In town of Irwin. I was a councilman. There's 2 things about petitions. There's the difficulty, and I think it's society now, of people just not answering the door, not wanting to talk. And there's the aspect of it, especially older generations or whatever, they're a little worried about scams now because there's so many scams. So I think they see someone with a clipboard saying, sign this, and they get a little nervous. I totally understand that. Yeah. But then there's the other side of the coin, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you'll agree, where you get to have those conversations and you get to meet the people and find out what is important to them and what they think maybe we should be focused on.
No question about it. I mean, in the petitioning process, all you really are looking for is a signature that says, I want to go on the ballot.
Right.
I mean, it's as simple as that. And you only need a certain number of signatures. I think it's 127 to get on the ballot. I've never approached it that way. I've always approached it getting 350 signatures because of that opportunity that you have to knock on doors. Those people that do answer have that opportunity to have a discussion about those things that you mentioned.
And it's probably the best way, at least I found, to actually reach the voters, because you could hold a town hall right now and some of the people aren't going to go out for whatever reasons. We're all busy, but when you knock on their door and they have that minute, they'll normally let you know what they believe.
There's no question about it. And one of the things, to be very honest with you, is I'm concentrating on the north side because with the reval process, I expect to get an earful. And that's fine. There is an explanation for it. It's not completely satisfactory when you have to shell out more money in taxes, but I do want to make that case, and I do want to hear from those folks with their concerns.
Now you're running, and again, thank you for making the announcement on the program. How exciting. What has been your proudest accomplishment so far? Or is that tough?
No, I think our commitment to housing.
That is.
I think if we're to grow as a community, we have to improve housing on a broad spectrum. Low-income housing, affordable housing, single-family homes, rental homes. One of the interesting things about Corning is that out of 5,000 housing units, 2,500 of those are rental. Oh, wow. And I think that surprises a lot of people. So attending to that rental market as well is really important for us to do. But I think improving housing and the development of the Corning Housing Partnership, a public-private partnership to attack housing, again, a broad way, I think has been a significant accomplishment.
Well, we're just about out of time, so I didn't think I would ask this on my very first show, but what would you say to the voters if they go to vote for you in November?
I think I've committed myself. They say it's a part-time job. I cannot honestly say I don't approach it that way. I think if we go back and look at those things that we've accomplished over the years, I think it's a significant group of ideas and accomplishments. I have ideas. We definitely want to do this comprehensive plan. That's an opportunity to participate in something that is extraordinary and important to our community going into the future.
Well, this interview was brought to you by M.A. Neal Financial Services. I want to thank the Mayor of Corning, Bill Bolan, for being our guest. Thanks so much for being on the inaugural show. We'll have to have you on soon now that I know you're running.
My
now
privilege,
that we all
Frank.
know that you're running.
Absolutely. Thank you, Frank.
All right. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking from the Hesselson Studios. Stay with us. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox, live from the Hesselson Studio in beautiful Market Street in Corning. Again, I want to thank the mayor making the big announcement. He's running for re-election right here on Frankly Speaking, and I want to thank M.A. Neal Financial Services for bringing us that interview. That's the kind of stuff you can expect here, folks. We are going to have surprises. I was surprised. I'm glad that he made that announcement on the inaugural show of Frankly Speaking. But again, going back, and I don't want to keep mentioning this, but please text or call with your questions. You can also email me. And if you are someone running, we were just talking about the petition process, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to have you on the program. So looking at my timing here, we actually have to take a short break because I ran a little long with the mayor, and I appreciate his time as always. On the program tomorrow, we're going to have Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard. So again, send those questions in. I guess I am going to keep mentioning that. Send those questions in. When we come back, we're going to talk to our friend here on Big Fox. He is our news guy at Big Fox News at 10, and that's Josh Feldberg. We're just going to get an idea of what we can expect from him in the future on this program because he is going to, him and Maggie are going to be an important part to bring you the news that's important to you, that affects you. And I think we've proven that claim already with the mayor making that announcement and some of the things we discussed there that maybe you weren't aware of. So I'm glad that he was on, and like I said, we'll talk to Josh in a little bit. Then we do have a couple quick news stories, and I do want to recap. It was a very big weekend here in Corning because it was a Corning Painted Post Sports Hall of Fame inductions. So we're going to take a look at a couple pictures. I was happy and proud to be asked by Dennis Sweeney to join him and his family. We're going to just take a couple of quick pictures, and I'll tell you who got inducted, and that's just to show you some of the local aspects of the program. So without further ado, we have to take a break. We'll be back from the Hesselson Studio with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, please. Gotta push the right button here. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, live from the Hesselson Studio. We talked with Josh. We're going to postpone our conversation with Josh from Big Fox News at 10. You can see him tonight on Big Fox News at 10, but we're just running late, and I'm so glad that the mayor could join us for that interview brought to you by M.A. Neal Financial Services, but we are running just a little bit late. So a few things I wanted to get to before we were out of time. One of the things that was really special this weekend, and I have to admit, it was the first time I've been to this event. I'm grabbing my program, so I make sure to recognize everybody. It was the Corning Painted Post Sports Hall of Fame, and this was at the Corning Museum of Glass, and there was a lot of noteworthy people that were inducted this year, so I thought we'd show you a picture. That is a picture of the inductees. Congratulations from lacrosse, Taylor Mathis. Track cross country was Samuel Chauvin, Thomas Mosier, John McCarthy. Volleyball, Madison Webster. Soccer, Zachary Quist. Bowling, Ron Gunn. Golf, Jim Fee and Dustin French. Powerlifting, David Shattuck Jr. Basketball, Walt Paprocki and Jamie Nichols. And contributors, Tim Hughes. And we have to give a big congratulations to our friend, Dennis Sweeney. Dennis, of course, you recognize from some of the commercials here on WYDC TV Big Fox, but Dennis was inducted for his years of quality sports broadcasting on radio, some TV as well. Many of you know his voice. He's been calling games for many, many years. I think the number was over 500. If you want to find out more and nominate someone, you can go to their website. You see it there on the screen, the Corning Sports Hall of Fame. They really do it right, and they had a Really a wonderful turnout and a beautiful place at the CMOG Corning Museum of Glass. So it's hard to believe. I'm telling you, I know we're running late, so we do have to take another short break. But when we come back, we're going to take a look at texts and see what you have responded with about today's program or about the future of Frankly Speaking. I guess I should probably go back to my main screen there. So we do have to take a break. Stay with us. This is the Hesselson Studio, and we're broadcasting live there on Corning Market Street with WYDC TV Big Fox. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox, broadcasting live from the Hesselson Studio on Marcus Street in Corning. Normally we would spend a little more time on news, but I spent this first program talking to you about what to expect from the future. One thing I would love to get your opinion on, so make sure you write down this contact information. You can text me, you can email me. Something that I think piqued my interest and is coming from the New York Post, and that is Senator Gillibrand is telling donors, and I don't know if this is a way to raise more money, that former governor, now disgraced governor, maybe the word you might use, Andrew Cuomo may run against her. Now, on the side of that, I don't know the optics of how that looks for Cuomo running against Gillibrand, but that is at least the whispers. Now, we all know that Governor Cuomo believes he's going to run again for something. What that is, maybe it's senator. That's what Gillibrand's saying, and I'm sure she's raising quite a bit of money off of it. One last thing before we go to another short break. Again, I'm running a little bit late this morning, but this is our first text, and I want to thank Jim from Horseheads. Is that... Oh, maybe it didn't pop up yet. Hold on. This is our... Oh, there we go. Boom, we'll get rid of that, and let's see if we can go to... I had a text. Oh, we got to... What's that? We got to take a break. Okay, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here from the Hesselson Studio on WYDC TV Big Fox. We're just about out of time. I apologize for that last little hiccup. Jim from Horsehead says, how do you select the guests that you will be interviewing for your show? And will it be will it be like in the past, with national guests or only local interviews for television? That's a great question, Jim from Horseheads. Thank you so much for texting in. Anybody can text in with great questions like that. The answer is yes. We will have guests that are national, and basically I select the national guests through interest. So if there's someone that you want, I can give it a shot. Now, we are just about out of time. That's amazing. This show went very quickly. I hope that you'll tune in every weekday morning right here on Frankly Speaking on WYDC TV Big Fox, our inaugural show. Thanks for joining us.